is up? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Where have I been? What's going on? One word, actually two words, depression, anxiety. It's a beast, you guys. We're not going to get into it. I'm here now. We're fine. We're doing better. We're doing much, much better. And that is what's important. I can't believe it's been 5 months since I posted a video. Like I said, we're not even going to talk about it. We're just going to get into the important stuff, and that is my November wrap up. Anywho, because I have ADHD and I cannot remember half these titles myself, I'm going to go ahead and look on my Goodreads just to see what I was up to in the month of November. Now, my reading goal for the year was 90 books. And I feel like once I get to 90 books, I think right now I'm at like 86, 82, somewhere between 82 and 86 books. And once I hit to 90, I don't know if I'm going to read anymore. I don't know if I'm going to get to 100. I'm more than likely not going to get to 100 books this year, and that's fine. It's fine. We'll save 100 books for next year because there's a crap ton of other books that are coming out next year, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So the first book I read for the month of November, it was A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So I actually liked this book way more than I thought I would. I thought it was just going to be a romance book about Dracula's brides and how he accumulated all his brides, but it was so much, much more than that. Trigger warnings though, there is a lot of domestic violence, there is abuse, there is murder, it's a lot going on. And our main character, Constanza, I think that's how you say it. Constanza is how I heard it pronounced in the audiobook. So also, I recommend the audiobook way more than any other book, like the physical book. Audio. You want to do the audio. So it is about our main character, Constanza. She is dying. Dracula saves her and brings her into his life, his world, and basically treats her as if she were like his wife, his girlfriend, his lover, and they're supposed to be ruling the world together. But as Dracula goes on throughout the centuries and all that, he starts to gather more brides into his little harem, and Constanza is starting to realize that Dracula has a lot of skeletons in his closet, quite literally and figuratively. It gave me suspense as like a mystery thriller would, so I would definitely put this book in the category of a thriller. That's just me. The writing style was amazing. I didn't think I would like a writing style like that, where it was just very romantic. It was romantical. That's not even a word. It was romantic. It was sad. It was dramatic. It was just, you felt the anger, and there's just so much rebellion. It's great. I was obsessed with it, and I highly recommend it. So, A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson was the first book I read for November. So the next book that I read, it was Beneath the Stairs by Jennifer Fawcett. I think that's who it's by. Now, this book, I did have high hopes for this book, and it didn't really hit the mark for me just because it was just like, I don't want to say it was all over the place, but there was so much time jump, and there was a lot of stuff in there to where it didn't really matter, but it was in there anyways. I got confused. I'm gonna read the synopsis for you because like it's just I can't explain it. Okay, I can't. A woman returns to her hometown after her childhood friend attempts suicide at a local haunted house, the same place where a traumatic incident shattered their lives 20 years ago. Few and sleepy Sumner Mills have stumbled across the Octagon house hidden deep in the woods. Even fewer are brave enough to trespass. One summer night, an emboldened Claire and her friend Abby ventured into the Octagon house. Claire came out, but a piece of Abby never did. Little to lose and still grieving after a personal tragedy, Claire returns to her roots to uncover the darkness responsible for Abby's accident. Like I said, I didn't really get it, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't understand it. And I could see where some things were going, but there was just, like I said, there was so much going on with the haunting itself that it just became too messy, and you could not connect all the ties. You couldn't connect all the ties. I don't know what else to say about it. I gave it a 3. I don't know. Do I recommend reading it? Sure. I do feel like it was longer than necessary. This definitely could have been like a 200-page book, and then it would have been fine. I would have probably understood it better, but I just felt like it was very long, too long for the type of story that it was and for like the plot line. But Jennifer Fawcett Beneath the Stairs is one of the books that I read for November. The next book that I read, it is by Shay Earnshaw, and it is Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. So I love this book. I thought it was great. It really stayed true to the story of The Nightmare Before Christmas. So we have here Jack and Sally. They're married. They're going on their honeymoon. They walk down to the forest where all the trees are, and they decide to go to Valentine's Day land. There's love, there's sugar cookies, there's Valentine's, hearts, roses, flowers, there's all of it. The wonderful, wonderful honeymoon. Jack and Sally are just super, super in love, and now it's time to go back to Halloween Town. But while they are going back to Halloween Town, Sally is now the pumpkin queen, and she's not liking it. She's kind of just like, this is too much. This is not who I am. I'm over it. I'm going to go for a walk. Sally goes for a walk and discovers a hidden tree that nobody knows about, and it is the tree to Sleepy Town. Sleepy Town. I never heard of it, was not in the movie, and that's what I love. That's the part that I loved. A hidden tree nobody knows about. I'm here for it. So without ruining the story and giving you guys a whole plot line, Sally now has to save the town because there is literally no one around to help her. You will learn why there is no one around to help her, because she's literally the only person that is there, which is weird. And it did freak me out a little bit because I have this weird thing with big empty spaces and being the only person. So it did trigger a little bit of my phobia, but that's okay. I was fine. I read it and I loved it. I loved it. So Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shay Earnshaw is one of the books that I read for November. The next book that I read, it is Elizabeth and Zenobia by Jessica Miller. This book, it is about a young girl named Elizabeth and her father. I believe her father is like a botanist, or he works with bugs. I forgot what those are called. And when Elizabeth was younger, her mother abandoned them. And then also Elizabeth has a good friend named Zenobia. And the cool thing about Zenobia is that she is a ghost. She's a ghost. So Elizabeth's father is already super, super sad and just down because one, his wife abandoned him, and two, his younger sister actually went missing 40 years before, something like that. And he decides to move Elizabeth to his family home where him and his sister grew up. So while Elizabeth and Zenobia are in the home, they believe it is haunted by a ghost, and the ghost would be of her father's sister. Me and Zenobia have some beef. I was not 100% fan of that character just because she's so mean. She's just so mean to Elizabeth for no reason and just makes her do the most random stuff and just leaves her to hang high and dry. So me and Zenobia have beef, but Elizabeth is just like this really cute, timid person. Her mom left her. Her dad is just super moody and broody. She has nobody else but a dead friend. Also gets her into a crap ton of trouble. And you just see how troubled Elizabeth is, and she's really just trying to cope with it, especially at the age she is. I thought that this book had a serial killer in it, the way that things were happening, but that wasn't the case. So that's kind of where, like, once you read it and you get to that part where things start to come together. So when like it gave me that vibes, I was kind of confused. I was like, this is a middle grade book. Like, why is there a serial killer in a middle grade book? But I've also read a lot weirder in a middle grade book. So I guess it was fine. But this book didn't have me on the edge of my seat, but it did have me really, really nervous for the characters, because there were some times where I'm just like, you guys are not going to get out of this. You're not going to get out of this. And it's so funny because when you're reading a book, you forget that obviously there's going to be some type of good ending or bad ending, whatever it is, but you feel like it's real and you're really in this scenario with them. So I did feel that with this book, to where I forgot I was reading a book and I was just like, why are you doing that? Why would you guys go in there? Why would you do that? So yeah, I had to remind myself, Cameron, this is a middle grade book. It's not real. Chill. But Elizabeth and Zenobia by Jessica Miller is one of the books I read for November. So the next book that I read, it is Shady Hollow by Juno Black. So this book is the cutest like fairy tale murder mystery book I've ever read in my life. If you guys have ever seen that movie Hoodwinked with Anne Hathaway, and they have all like that star-studded cast, this is basically that book. We're set in this really cute woodland town. We have bears, raccoons, squirrels, peacocks, like you name it. There's all kinds of animals. And we have our main character, Vera Vixen. First of all, love that name. Vera Vixen, super cute. I love the name. It's great. Great choice, Miss Juno. Great. So Shady Hollow has its very first murder ever, And Miss Vera Vixen is on the case. She's on the case. She wants to solve it because this is her break. She works for a newspaper and her badger boss, literally a badger boss. I thought that was super funny that like the author added, your boss is badgering you. Get it? No? Okay, just me. But he wants the story and he wants it now. Vera's like, I have it. I got you. It's okay. Come to find out, it was a toad who lives on the outskirts of the woods. Nobody really likes this toad. He was kind of mean. He didn't really like anybody. He kept to himself, but still murder is murder and it's wrong. So Vera decides to take on this case and solve it herself. So this book, it is a series of 3 to 4 books. I am on the third one at the moment. And you guys, if I'm on the third, obviously I'm in love with this series. The books are great. I'm obsessed with the author's writing style. And there is a little bit of like mixed romance between the fox and another animal. And it's super cute. I'm obsessed with it. So it's not super romance or anything like that. It's mainly about the investigation, the murder, the mystery, the intrigue, the danger. And I'm here for it. So Shady Hollow by Juno Black is one of the books I read for November. So the next couple books that I read were mangas, and they are continuations of series that I'm already on. In the first one, it is Monstrous by Marjorie Leo, and this is a continuation of the character Make a Half Wolf, and it is like a steampunk animal human world with a lot of political drama, a lot of war, crime. It's a wild book. And trigger warning, this book does have a lot of graphic sexual assault. Like it's wild. So trigger warning, but that is one of the books, and I have been reading this series for quite some time. It's hard to get like copies of this book because everybody wants to read it now, which is great. But it did take me a while to get a copy of this book, so I'm finishing it slowly. Then the second one, it is Spy Family Volume 8 by Tetsuya Endo. If you guys know Spy Family, Spy Family. Spy Family. Super great. I'm obsessed with that entire series, and I'm currently watching the series on Crunchyroll. So I'm watching the manga, the series. I just love it. I love it. I love it. Love, 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 love it. I really do want to see more romance with Yor and Twilight because it's destined. Anya, she's so cute and she's so funny. I can like I live for Anya, and if I could get a tattoo of her on me, I totally would. So that was the second manga that I read for the month of November. The next 2 mangas that I read, it is volumes 4 and 5 of The Way of the House Husband. If you guys really want something that gives you that spy family humor, The Way of the House Husband is it. There is so much double entendres and meanings to what he's saying, what our main character is saying, and it is so funny because it is about this man basically this man who used to be this drug lord mafia man, and he's now a husband. He's got a wife, he's got a home, and he's a homemaker, and it's just like something you really don't see. And it's so funny because he still has like that mafia mentality and that aggression to where he's cutting vegetables, but he's cutting them so aggressively he breaks the cutting board, and it is so funny. And just seeing him get so passionate and aggressive about washing clothes and making sure you separate your whites from your colors, it is hilarious. I am absolutely obsessed with that. And it's so funny because I actually bought ADHD, you guys. It is something. I forgot that I had volume 4 3 times. So I bought volume 4 3 times. So yeah, now I have 3 volume 4s, and I'm probably just going to give them away to people, or just, I don't know, just keep them in the library to take up space on the bookshelves. I don't know. Next book that I read, it is Shady Hollow volume 2, and it's called Cold Clay, where it is another murder mystery with our girl Vera Vixen. She's investigating the murder of Joe Moose's wife, who disappeared from her responsibilities as a mother and a wife. She wanted to travel the world and she just dipped. Or so we thought. So Vera Vixen is very, very good friends with Joe Moose, and he runs the coffee shop that Vera and her beau and her friends like to visit. And Joe couldn't have murdered his wife. He could not have murdered his wife, right? But that is the second book out of 4 for Shady Hollow. So if you want to get into the murder of who killed Joe's wife, you got to read the first one. The next manga series that I read, it is Happy Hanako's Killer Life. And I'm going to butcher this name. I'm going to try Toshiya Wakabayashi. Yes, Toshiya Wakabayashi. I think I got it. So this book, funny, I liked it. It is about a girl named Kanako, and she just quit her job. She was working the 9 to 5. She was the cog in the machine, and she was just so tired of it. So what does she do? She quits her job. She quits her job. She's over it. She doesn't want to do it anymore. And so while she's living her life, she's looking through the papers, and somehow, some way, she gets contracted to be a killer, a hitman, if you will. It's just weird because I've never read a scenario like this before where you just quit your job and then you apply for what you think is a normal job and it turns out you're a hitman. But the thing is, she's oddly good at it. So good at it to where she becomes like this notorious secret hitman that everybody wants a piece of. And she's just like this really cute, adorable, unassuming person who looks like she can barely lift up a seashell off the floor. And she ends up being the most notorious hitman in this series. There's romance in there. There's this really broody co-worker. Like, he hates her, but then he kind of likes her, but then he is annoyed by her because she's just so badly good at her job. He can't stand it. So there is a lot of like confusion, just like, how are you so good at your job but also just so bad at living in general? And that is Kanako. So this series, it is super humorous. It's funny. So Happy Kanako is one of the series that I read for the month of November. And then last but not least, it is a classic, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So we all know about The Great Gatsby, Jay Gatsby, the Leonardo DiCaprio of the 1920s. I was supposed to have read this book in high school. We actually never read it, so I decided, let me just go ahead and get all the books that I wanted to read for high school, right? Right? So I read it. I was so bored, out of my mind, out of my mind. And like, granted, this book was written in the 1920s, okay? So there's a lot of racism, there's a lot of sexism, there's a lot of abuse, there's just a lot of stuff going on in this book. So I really don't think there was like a lesson to be learned with this particular book. It's mostly just, I feel, the author telling his life, but from a different perspective and how things went for him in that time frame. Was it entertaining? Yes. Is it my favorite book? No. Do I recommend it? Sure. Why not? To me, this is nothing spectacular. It's not life-changing. I did not learn anything from this book. I'm just being genuinely honest. It was there. I read it and it was all right. Would I pick it up again? Not really. But I'm so glad I read The Great Gatsby because now I can say that I've read it before. I can have a conversation with somebody about it, and then I can tell somebody else about it, like you guys. So The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald is the last book that I read for November. Okay, you guys, that is it. That is my November wrap up. So I did read a lot of mangas last month, which I'm totally okay with. And for those who think manga books don't count, it's a book. Yes, it does. The DMV book counts. The Bible counts. It's all on Goodreads. So if it's on Goodreads, it counts. You guys have no idea how much I love you guys, and your loyalty means so much to me. It means so much to me, and that is exactly why I promise I will be making more content now that I am on the up and up. I'm doing so much better. I'm a lot happier now. I'm more content. I'm much better. I'm in a much better headspace and mood, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love you all so much. Stay safe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.